Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Leaders Dojo. Do let me know where you're coming from if you're tuned in right now. Um, Tonight, we have a very special guest coming in for the second time, and this is, uh, well, I think somebody that I respect a lot, especially more so after I've actually had a chance to have a chat with him on the last Leaders Dojo, where he shared a lot about uh, leadership that's needed to lead the younger generation today. And tonight, he's going to be speaking to us about failing forward. And I think, there's a lot of, what do you call it? There's a lot of emphasis on success, on being your best self, releasing your personal power and all this kind of stuff today. Hustle, hustle, hustle to get where you want to be. But I think um, failure is really something that we don't really talk enough about. What do you think, right? So let me know what you think about this topic. Drop it into the chat box. Let me know where you're tuning in from as well, so that we can say hi to you. Drop us a comment and say hi to us on the chat box as well. Before we start, just let me introduce the show. Well, the show, as you know, is called the Leaders Dojo, and I'm your host, Chee-Seng. I'm a coach, uh, content writer. I'm also a trainer as well. And the Leaders Dojo show is really something that's really close to my heart because I have spent like the last 25 years as a teacher as well, right? And in that time, I've really coached a lot of children, and I've seen the generations come up. And my other foot is in the corporate world, where I'm a writer and I deal with corporate issues, and now as a trainer as well. So the people I've been training for the past 25 years are now becoming adults and have become adults, right? Entering the workforce. And what I do see is the society has changed, employees have changed, but many things in the structures of companies have not changed. And that's where I thought, well, we really need to have these conversations. And that's where the Leaders Dojo came about. And the other thing that's really drives me is because, well, I'm many of you know, I think, that I'm the managing partner of Communications Leadership Academy now, and we carry the same, uh, what do you call it, the same DNA in what we want to do in CLA, right? Because branding is much different now. It's no longer, and I think some of you might remember my post last week, right? Branding has to come from inside out today. You can't just create an image and that's your brand. That might be true like 30 years ago. It's no longer true today, right? Because with social media, everybody can share what they experience about your brand. So what you say about your brand is one thing, what people experience about your brand is another thing. And people always listen to their friends, they don't listen to companies. So your brand has to come from inside out. That's where we come from for CLA. That's what we want to train our clients to do. Right. As I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about failing forward, and we're going to have Daryll Tan to uh, in the conversation with us. And so, without further ado, let's get started. Hi, Daryll. How are you?
Hi, Chee-Seng. Hi, good evening,
Hey.
good morning, good afternoon, wherever you guys are.
Okay, definitely one of my friends here is what is it's probably middle of the night where you are, right, Michael? What time is it now? I can't remember. The last time you mentioned, I can't remember. Hi,
Wow,
Michael. Michael is in Sweden now. I,
beautiful place. Hi, Michael.
yeah. Jimin, hi. How are you? So, yeah, say hi to us. Help me to welcome Daryll on the show again as well. Hi, Melissa. You made it.
Hi, Melissa.
Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about failing forward. As I mentioned, this is probably a topic that's not discussed enough, I feel, right? Actually is a book called Failing Forward by one leadership author that I really like and respect a lot, John Maxwell. In fact, I'm one of the Maxwell leadership team graduates, so something that's very close to my heart, and also because of my many years of experience of failure. So I've actually learned a lot of this stuff the hard way. But enough about me. Let's hear from Daryll, right? Daryll, tell us a little bit about yourself.
A bit about myself. Let's take it back to when I first wanted to be a business owner. Right, and this was a dream. This was a dream for a 13, 14-year-old youth at that point of
Mm,
time. At 14 years old, I told myself I'm going to be a boss one day. But little did I know, being a boss doesn't mean this doesn't mean really much. At that time, I thought I'm going to be a boss. But really, when I really became so-called a boss, a business owner, oh Lord, it's a totally different thing altogether, right?
mm,
It's everything all at one thrown on you. You take responsibility, and that has really shaped me, right? So from that mindset of 14 to 15, I continued my studies. I went for my college, but I don't know how many of you know this. Um, I'm actually a college, what we call a university dropout. I like to say I stepped out of university very intentionally. I didn't accidentally fall out or drop out. Very intentional. I actually stepped out of university, and I then started my first company called Chase Motions. This was about 12 to 13 years back. All
mm,
right. And at that time, I pivoted my business once. So Chase Motions was more of a talent company, and then I pivoted to a video production liaison company, and then I merged. So very quick summary: I merged, and we are known as Open Minds today. And by
mm.
God's grace, we celebrated our 10th anniversary just Friday, past Friday.
Mm. Wow,
It was
congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And it was only a dream at that time. 10 years ago, we were telling ourselves, if you really surpass 5 years, that would be great, right? But we passed 5 years, six, seven, and now 10. We always wanted to have all our employees, even our past employees and teammates, back to celebrate with us. And that's exactly what we did. It was a reality, a dream made into a reality. I'm just, my mind's blown by this whole journey. But of course, it wasn't a linear journey, as you saying. I mean, it was like tonight's topic, right? Failure, right? It's
Mm.
such a scary word, but I think I've come to terms with it. I guess there are many failures, there are many learnings, many challenges as well.
Yeah.
Perhaps tonight we can discuss about that. Yeah, yeah. But that's a little bit
Okay,
about me.
Melissa says she's also a real life drop-in and uni dropout. Okay, I need
Right.
to. I think better qualify this in case there are parents out there and scared their children hear this. This is not permission for your kids to drop out of college and justify they don't want to study anymore.
Oh
Okay,
yeah, hundred
as
percent.
Daryll said, it's very intentional. To pursue a very specific dream, right? And he had the drive to achieve it. That's what happened to Jobs and Steve Jobs and Bill Gates as well, right? It's a very
But nowhere
intentional
near,
decision to drop out.
nowhere near them.
Yeah. So they are. I mean, the point is they are not university dropouts. They are made a decision to drop out to pursue a different path. Okay, so
Yeah,
qualification, I think,
yeah.
before anyone comes and flame me or what.
Agree with you.
Okay, so Jude, hello. Thanks for joining.
Hi,
And
Jude. Thanks for joining.
hey, Melissa.
Yes, I know Melissa.
I see.
Uh, well, to my
Melissa is
sisters,
hearing a really distracting. Melissa is hearing a really distracting echo. I think it's me. It's usually me. Okay, let me try and tone down my speakers and see whether that works better. It's 2:30 in the afternoon for Michael. Wow. Thank you for joining us. Uh, okay, I can't see this on screen. Who is this? Let me go and check my phone now. Who else is here? Yeah, Jimin. Okay, I hope it's better. The echo is better now. If it's not, do let me know. Then I'll try something else. Let me go and check my phone now. Okay, so let's go to our first question. And maybe you guys just chip in as well, right? Do you think there's an unhealthy focus on success in motivational teams today, right? I mean, every morning, I guess all of you will get motivational message in your WhatsApp, right? I think that's pretty standard. So, do you think there is an unhealthy focus on success in motivational teams today? Daryll, and anyone else, just chip in the comment box. Let me know what you think.
It's a very interesting. I mean, to use unhealthy shows that I think it's just an overdose of it. Like nutrition, right? We all always talk about always eating a balanced diet, not too much, not excessive of something, right? And I think right now in this day and age, we are just been feeding ourselves with too much success stories or success motivation, and that I think that's the root of becoming unhealthy. So let's justify that first, right? So it's context of too much, not about the question of the existence of success motivational um, statements or conversations or communities or whatnot. I think motivation for success is good, right? We all need that framework, we need the visualization, we need the reminder. But I think if there's too much and just focusing on that as an everyday theme, I think the the scary part is that you don't know what success means to you,
Mm,
right? And if I keep preaching success to you and you don't exactly know what's the objective of success or
mm,
the point of your success or that win that you consider a success, then it's very difficult to be happy. It's very difficult to be grateful. It's very difficult to be in the now. You're always chasing
mm.
after something, but eventually, actually, what are you chasing? That becomes
Oh, that's a good point. That's a
empty.
really
Yeah,
great point, Daryl.
yeah. I think that's the main thing about being so-called unhealthy or too much of this success motivation these days.
Mm. I think people are starting to use this term now. It's called toxic positivity, right? Where
Mhm.
everything
Mhm.
is just like there's just this unending expectation that everything is going to be great, everything is going to be perfect. You just need to live out your personal power, and just keep chasing for the success that you want. But I think, yeah, what you said is very true, and I feel I feel it really sets up a if you're not careful, if you're not careful to be realistic, I think it sets up really a very um, polished, varnished, and
Mhm.
probably very unrealistic expectation of what
A bit
things
pretentious
are
also.
going to be like,
Sometimes I
right?
believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I have a theory about this. This is based
Mm.
on the many years of coaching kids in the past, but I won't go into that now because that's gonna take a long time. This is gonna be a story. Okay, so if you have a thinking about this, is there an unhealthy focus on success in motivational teams today? Do drop it into the comments. Um, yeah, maybe I will say it a little bit lah. I mean, I feel um, when coaching kids, a lot of them in the past life lah, right? When I was still coaching kids, a lot of them have this opinion of themselves that they are able, right? They are able, they're smart enough, and they deserve success. I'm not denying that they are able. I'm not denying that they do deserve whatever success they have. But I think there is a bit of a disconnect between what they think and what they want and what they expect to be able to get there, right?
Mm.
So yeah, what do you think? I agree,
Mhm.
you're very smart. What you want is what I want for you as well. I want you to achieve very high results. But what it takes to get there, okay, then that's where, okay, this is what you need to do, right? And this is kind of mindset that you need to have, and this is kind of resilience that you need to build, you know, by persevering in these things. And a lot of them were like, I can't take this, you know. So I feel that's where I have my theories where that comes from as well. But I think that part is what I meant that it's going to take a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel this is where the a lot of the gaps happen, right? Where the 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 journey towards what they imagine in their mind is not as smooth as they thought, or they didn't even have any idea of what it's going to be like until they actually reach it, and then it's like, wow, it's going to be like this. I don't think I can take it,
Yeah,
right?
I guess it's the innocence, right? I mean, you're talking about kids. There's the innocence in them that they want something that's good, right? Nothing
Mm.
wrong with that, like you said, right, Chee-Seng? There's nothing wrong with that. I think they should aim for that. I think the innocence in them, sometimes, this is my opinion, it sometimes carry on into their adulthood
Mm.
where it becomes oblivious. Now,
Mm.
that's a problem, right? I mean, if you're from innocence to being oblivious throughout your adulthood, then I think it's a tsunami waiting to happen, right? It's a crack, a meltdown is waiting to happen because then if failure comes, you don't know how to get up. If when failure
Yeah.
comes, because it will come, right? I mean, it's not if it's a when. So
Yeah.
when failure comes, you think that how come my bed of roses suddenly has been taken away from me, and I think then that is very, I mean, to say the least, or I mean, forgive me for saying this, a bit immature, right? And
Mm.
we need that push or that tug to then say that well, that success is great. Like you say, also, do you have the grit? Do you have that tenacity? Do you have that push? Do you have the drive? Do you have the passion? Do you have that everyday hustle? And now this whole hustle culture is also a thing. Quiet
Yeah.
quitting is a thing. Too many things is a thing, right? And we become
Mm.
confused. Sometimes I also don't blame adults also, like we become confused, you know. But yeah, innocence all the way to adulthood should have a change, should have a mindset change, and I think then
Mm.
um, we'll be able to handle failure better also. Lah.
Yeah. And personally, I do feel that while these motivational messages have their value, but if there's no more substance backing it up, then I think it just perpetuates that unrealistic idea, you know. So it's
Yeah.
if these people, like you said, they grew up into adulthood without ever losing that innocent idea, and and that's being reinforced by these like one liners, two liners, in inspirational quotes. um then I feel like this has long-term consequences, because having an unrealistic expectation actually sets you up to experience uh, even worse pain when it doesn't meet your expectations. And of course, we are all the kind of people that don't want to experience pain,
Mm.
right? So okay, let's look at what Melissa says. Depends on what your definition of success is. It's important that success is based on value and quality of being, that is not dependent on external circumstances. Oh, very wise, Melissa. I totally agree with you.
Hmm.
What is realistic to one person is unrealistic to another. Realistic is limited and safe and gives the illusion of certainty.
Yeah.
Wasn't it unrealistic to send man to the moon? Okay, I'm going to screenshot this and then go back and think about it some more.
This is an excerpt for a book already, Melissa.
Yeah.
But I do agree, it's good. I mean, there is, of course, the realistic part that we need to cope with. Wasn't it Walt Disney who also dream like crazy dreams, right? In the end,
Mm,
there is a reality to that, right? And I totally
mm,
agree. It's very subjective. This whole success thing. That's why in the beginning also I say, then what is success to you, right? Kids, adult, all the same. We all need to know what is this success to you.
yeah.
Therefore, failure becomes just part of that journey. Oh, we need to
Yeah.
define failure also.
Yeah, correct, correct. And I mean taking this example, sending people to the moon, it wasn't a series of successes alone, right? There has to be mistakes made, tests, fail of tests, and then reiteration of things that need to be done better. Talking about sending people to the moon, I always remember Apollo 13, the movie,
Mm.
right? That was like a whole series of life and death failures happening, right? And these people just kept going and kept going, lah. Right. So I think, yeah, thanks, Melissa. Very, very insightful. Jude says success is something that is a shortfall of one's passion. Passion never burns out. Shortfall of one passion? You um what do you understand that to mean, Daryl? To me, shortfall means you fall short, right?
Mm. Yeah, but maybe just addressing passion never burn out. Um, uh, I mean, okay, again, it depends how you relate this back to success, right, and failure.
Hmm.
Um, I think that passion can easily, this is my opinion, passion can easily fizzle out, right? Once we don't know again our direction, our mission critical, we don't know our priorities or season in life. I mean, passion can be really burnt out by just the mundane things of life, right? That your passion
Hmm.
can just be put out, right? And I
Yeah.
think then we always cannot be chasing. I feel like we cannot be chasing after things that we are passionate about. We should do and allow passion to fill us. I mean, it's
Hmm.
just another way of angling things, right? If you consider just going after the things that you're passionate about, sometimes like reality will hit also. Right? But if you also do things that you may not be passionate about, eventually you will be doing the things that you are passionate about. And that's life, that's business, that is even relationship, family building, leadership, so on, right? The full spectrum of it.
I've got a story about that also, but I better not take up more of your time. You can
You
check
got
out my
theories and
post.
stories. Yes.
I mean, I did. Oh no, it wasn't a post. It was a comment I made in one of the LinkedIn posts. Okay, but yeah, I do know a friend who followed his passion. I can't tell the full story; it's going to be long. Who followed his passion, and then turned out that following your passion and trying to make a living out of it is actually a lot of hard work, until it became like, it's not a passion anymore. It's work. So and then he stopped, and I think it's kind of sad because he was really talented in what he did, right?
Right.
So yeah, so I think exactly what you said, lah, Daryl. Okay, Jude says, I would say with one's passion to keep going, you'll never lose focus. Yeah, like I mentioned just now, I think it has to be managed, lah. Uh,
Correct.
like uh, like my friend's example, lah. He went all out for it, and he just burned himself out because the passion became work,
Correct.
right?
And I feel that
So
that is so on that topic, going back to failure, right? Is that a failure, right? That's a question I have, right? You have a passion,
mm,
you chase after your passion, you do the work, you work hard for it, you earn a living, but in the end, it became mundane work, right? But then is
mm,
that really truly a failure, right? And I
mm,
think, well, to me, the way I see is that you made it work to some extent, right? You
mm,
not a lot of people dare to even also take that passion and make it into a full time profession. But
yeah,
if it happened, and I guess that you made it to a certain systematic way of doing things, I think,
mm,
and you have revenue and you earning a living, I think that
yeah,
is not failure by itself, right? I mean, just by
yeah.
that alone. And I think, like I say,
Yeah,
passion can be
that's
burned
why.
out, but it can be refilled again, right? It can be
Correct.
refilled again, depending on
Right.
how
That's
then
why.
you
That's
choose.
why I said it's not the passion itself that's the issue, lah. It's that you need to manage what you do,
Mm,
right, with it.
mm,
Expectations have to be real, lah. It's one thing to not depend on it for money and do it really when it's fun.
yeah,
It's another thing to, like, okay, I need to manage the business part of it now, right? And that's
sure.
the part that's not fun.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so back to our, well, not back to, now we better get into the topic. How do you see failure? Does it affect you personally and as an entrepreneur? So this question throw open to you guys as well, right? So let me know, let us know what you think in the comment box.
Um, I think
Yeah,
right. I
Daryl?
think
Mm,
this failure word. So let's define failure. So to me,
mm,
like at least failure is always, of course, that it's that thing that will happen. It will happen no matter how good you are, right? So it's already there. It's a given being so-called failing. But on the other side of the coin, failure is always looking at things differently as well, right? Failure actually becomes a stepping stone for learning. It's an education, actually, failing in that sense. And the other side of the coin is a stepping stone for learning and becoming better. That's why you also name the title of the show tonight, Failing Forward, right? And I think that at in the beginning stages, when I was a younger person, don't say young entrepreneur, as a younger person, scared. Of course, you feel, am I going to be a failure? Am I, even the first time I stepped out of university, that was something that was ringing in my head. Am I going to be a failure? And just a few days ago, I was reminded by a colleague of mine, and my colleague actually said that one of the greatest fear is being a failure, right? And I think especially in this part of Asia, especially being an Asian family coming from this ethnicity, this culture, right? Wow, you cannot fail it. I mean, you cannot fail, means to say you fail one time or you're embarrassment. But I mean, to me, it will happen. So how leh? It will happen one. You don't. It's asking me not to breathe or not to eat, or it will happen. Okay, that's the truth. So if it happens to me, it's a stepping stone for learning, and it keeps happening. If so-called failing keeps happening, but at the same time, I know from my journey that I've started multiple startups as well. I think I count six or seven, right? But not all are alive. But does that mean I'm a failure? Or does that mean I failed that part of the business? I may have failed the operations of the business, but I mean, thank God that I learned so much from that. I learned so much from my then partners. I learned so much from the operations, the product, the systems, the the pricing model of that, why and why not, right? That journey and that time, learn so much from it. And I think we all should look at failure from that point, right? The additional work, the moving forward part of it is most important.
Mm. Yeah, and that brings us to the topic for tonight, lah. What is failing forward? I mean, when I first saw the cover of this book, I was so intrigued. I was especially intrigued because at that point in time, I was trying to make it in a multi-level business, lah. Multi-level business, there's a lot of hype to keep people motivated and in a very
Yeah.
difficult business. And one of the books that I saw was this one. It was at that point I was feeling like such a failure. I had very strong ambitions when I first came out to work. I wanted to be millionaire by the time I was 40. I want to retire early and then do whatever I want. This kind of stuff. At that time, I think I was about late 20s, approaching 30, and I was pretty broke. So my timeline was shorter, getting very short, and I won't even say I'm nowhere near the finishing line, lah. Right? I'm not even past the starting post. I'm probably way behind. So this book really caught my eye, and I started reading it, lah. But let me ask you, Daryl, what is your take on failing forward?
When I hear failing forward, is a very action word. I feel like it's a word that moves, and if you look at this word, right, failing or even falling, anyone can fall. You can fall sideways, you can feel sideways, you can feel backwards. But why we say forward, I believe sometimes, right, is sometimes just a bit more, that word forward, right, just a bit more, you will actually experience the magic, what I call the magic, right? um, there's this illustration of you, right? There's this illustration where there's this circle and this is you, and then there's this bigger circle here that's called the magic, right? And a lot of people just give up here, right? And they can come as close as possible here, and they're just about to finish, they give up, right? And I think that, yes, you case in point, there's realistic goals, realistic dreams, and all that. But sometimes failing that forward, putting your hand out just before you hit your face to the ground, that one last reach or that one last response to get up can make a whole difference, and can that's where the magic actually happens. Things start falling into place, people start calling you up, you get more opportunities, you get more sale perhaps, you get a breakthrough in your business, you get a breakthrough in your multi-level business, you get more leads and so on, right? So to me, it's an action word. It's action means to say it when you fail, it needs to be coupled with an action, and that action should be a moving forward action, and that is all within our character and of response. And this becomes a habit, right? If the failing forward don't become a habit, I mean, or rather, you train yourself to become a habit. So because every time you fail, every time you fall, there's a response to, okay, I cry a bit, I feel the hurt a bit, I'm angry for one day, I'm angry for 2 days, I feel like a downer. But the next day, that's where the magic happens, right? The response to get up, the response to move forward. And I think that is completely the whole idea of failing forward. Feel it and then take the action. I also acknowledge the feeling part because we're humans, right? We are humans. We will feel down, we will feel disgusting, we will feel totally lousy. Feel it, cry it out, whatever. Talk to your to whoever that you trust, and get on up again. Move forward.
Christina actually made a comment on the post, saying that the key is really getting back up, right? So failure bound to happen, right? Nobody in life doesn't fail. But how do you get yourself to get back up, right? Sometimes it's just like, it's the end of the world. I don't feel like doing it anymore. So how do you get yourself to get back up?
If looking back, Chee-Seng, I mean, there is a few things. Number one is, of course, much said before, right? Is being on the top is lonely. Being on the top of being an entrepreneur sometimes is tough, lah. It's very tough, right? So you need to have that self motivation. You really have to have that self motivation, and to have that self motivation, you need to couple it and mix it around like a salad bowl of mission. It needs to have a purpose, right? And you need to know your why. Right, you need to really know your why. You need to know your purpose. You just mix it and toss it all about, add salt and pepper, spice and whatever, and that's how I believe that I've got through many times. But I think one of the biggest help is actually community lah. It is community. You need people like-minded or not, right? Sometimes people come from different angles. They empathize with you. They sympathize with you from different angles, and I think that helps,
Mm,
right? And because you have these people around you, you're not alone or a single-minded, uh, failing forward person, right? You are always looking at things from different angle because you are assisted by people around you that can see those angles, and these are your community that you need to keep close. Because my sister, uh, Melissa, I can tell my sister this as well. You know, shout out to her. When I first came out and wanted to be an entrepreneur, she said this to me. She said, Daryl, if you want to be on the top, you want to be the best, right? You want to fly and soar like an eagle, don't mix around with turkeys. So that makes sense to me, right? You need to surround yourself with your eagles. But at the same time, please note that you also can be a turkey to someone else. So find your community. And I think that then you will, become a habit of how you motivate yourself to get up again.
yeah, I think you really uh, have something there. I agree with Melissa, right? You need to have a support system, the community
Mm,
of people to lift you up. Um, also another perspective is, I think these people got to share the same values as you. Again, back to my MLM days. Yeah, they were very highly motivated people, but I feel I just couldn't really get into that community because they were motivated by very simple. We want to make money.
yeah.
Yes, I wanted to make money as well, but what drives me is something different, right? What drives me is, I have to feel it's purposeful. I have to feel that it's something that's it's not selfish. It's not just taking things, taking profit, but it has to be purposeful. It has to be contributions, right? So yeah, we on the surface we look like we want to have making money, right? But underneath is fundamentally different lah. So I just couldn't jive with them, and I felt very out of place, honestly. So I'm not saying that's the reason I failed at that venture. That I acknowledge there are many other reasons as well. But I think that was one of the reasons that really helped me. I wouldn't say hold me back, lah, but it really held me apart from the community. I
Mm,
just didn't feel the same connection.
mm.
And when you don't feel the connection, you don't have that community, lah. And whatever support that people try to give you makes sense to them, but to me it's like, oh my god, what are you talking about? Right? And I remember one of them told me, you told me you need to light a fire under your butt, lah, right? So what you need to do is need to get yourself a bank loan and get yourself a car, so that you have a financial commitment to pay. And at that point, I remember, my gosh, I'm trying to get out of debt. I'm trying to make money here. The financial trouble that I was in wasn't enough to drive me to do whatever it takes. You want me to take more debt? Just totally didn't make sense to me. So
Yeah, what
yeah,
you say is true lah. That same mindset, that camaraderie, that value system. Again, value system nowadays is so difficult to teach. Something I think is very difficult. Principles, right? It's difficult to teach all
yeah,
this. So you find that someone that has it, well, hold on tight to that person. And hopefully you
yeah,
add
yeah.
value to the person also.
That's right. That's why I tell my daughter, because she's a little bit opinionated in her ways, So, and sometimes she feels like her friends why like that one. So I mean, when she was younger, she struggled with it because she didn't have her own gang, and I, I mean, and I knew she was not the type of person that would compromise. And all I could tell her was, um, you haven't met your group of friends yet, that you can
Mm,
really treasure, lah. Right? But
mm,
when you do meet these people, they will last a lifetime, and you really need to treasure them. So
mm,
it's unfortunate that it's really true that you don't really meet the tribe that you really need until a bit later,
mm.
sometimes. But I guess that's a good reminder for us to really appreciate the support system that we have, lah.
Agree. Yeah,
Yep.
agree.
Okay, next question. How can people develop a different relationship with failure? I use this word because I heard it applied and I felt it just made a lot of sense to me because I see it as uh, yeah, you can call it a mindset, but I think this relationship with failure and success kind of rings a bell with me, lah. So, what do you think, Daryl?
Yeah, it is a um, interesting way of putting it, right? Having a relationship with failure. And I think once, you see, I think the key here is that relationship word. I think it's a great word because having a relationship means to say you actually know that person well. So let's say, my wife and I know her well. She knows me well, right? And whenever she does something that it, that is out of the norm, or it may be a bit frustrating, or whatever it is that is a bit queer or unique, and I know where she's coming from. Or if she
Mm,
lashes out and I lash out, having that relationship puts you into a instant perspective, right? So I believe having that relationship, if you have a good relationship, that's why I say about habit, right? So if you put yourself in the position of having a relationship with failure or even success, you will very quickly know the perspective and the requirements of success, right? And when failure is around the corner, you will know because you are ready, right? If you have a
mm,
relationship with failure, I think it has to be a relationship that is good. If you say how to develop a different relationship, I think a lot of people have a bad relationship with failure. I think we have a good relationship with failure. It's not asking you to always ask failure out to yam cha, every 1 week you fail. No, that's not the case, right? You're saying that you have relationships so you know when it's about to happen. And when it happens, you know how
mm,
to respond, right? And that is the differentiating, I think, aspect of having a different relationship with failure. And of course, with
mm,
success, I think all of us, again, like we discussed in the beginning, right? We need to know this success of ours. How does it look like? And I believe the more we go through life, the more we experience and we open our minds to things, success can change. And I might say this very instantly change also. Right? When you're young, you really, really truly want to be a millionaire. You want to own this, this, and this. But after you go through 10, 15 years, you got family, you got kid, I don't know, you travel abroad, you look at different culture, I don't know, whatever, you find God, right? Success can be very different after 15 years, right?
Yeah.
So you have that relationship is more of being prepared and know that these things will take place.
Yeah. And I also like the word relationship, like you say lah, right? It's sort of like I feel it goes a little bit deeper than mindset. Mindset is something you think about, but having a relationship means it's something that's ongoing. It's something that you relate to lah. For me personally, I see it as very true, like what you said, like it gives you perspective. It gives you a certain kind of what do you call it, knowledge about how to manage that when it comes, right? So yeah, so for me, I don't know when it started changing lah, but it just when I started to understand things about failure, things about myself, and this is like really relationship language, like you need to understand the other person, understand myself, how we relate to each other. So then that's where I really had a different way of seeing and thinking about failure lah. So failure, I used to be really terrified, like, to the point I couldn't get started, right? Because I'm naturally a worrier. When I was much younger, a teenager, I would be like, what am I going to wear tomorrow? That kind of crazy level lah. So, when I started to have this different thinking about failure, I mean, I changed to the point where I failed already. Okay, what can we take from this? Right. Okay, next one. Move on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like you said, it's unpleasant. As in any argument within a relationship, is unpleasant.
Yeah.
But if we have a relationship that's healthy, we can say, oh, okay, look what happened here, right? Can we not have this kind of blow up anymore, right? If it's happening often enough, right? Can we find the root cause of this problem so that it doesn't happen anymore? That kind of thing. So I think I've got a very similar kind of approach when it comes to failure as well.
And I like what you say, Chee-Seng. I think it relates me back to how sometimes when we go to a theme park, we're very scared of that latest biggest ride or that roller coaster, or maybe you jumped off the plane, doing parachuting, right? The skydiving, that first jump, right? Scared, right? That jump into the deep blue sea, right? That first time. But when you do it once, you do it twice, naturally you become, I wouldn't say you become comfortable to a certain extent, right? You're not immune to it, but you're comfortable. You understand what is going to happen. Oh, if I jump out of the plane right now, how the fall will be. You anticipate already. So having that relationship, right, building that into a habit, it's like what you experience on Chee-Seng, right? It's like feel, okay, this is probably your fifth time already, right? Okay, cool. I know what to do. Everything speeds up.
Yeah.
Everything is sped up. The first time you cook, for example, you maybe take 4 hours to cook one chao fan, but after that, 30 minutes also can do with your eyes closed. I think that kind of habit and that kind of perception, failure especially, needs to happen, right? In all aspects.
Yeah. I mean, like also when I was learning how to make bread during the MCO, my first attempt, the bread turned out almost like those kueh. There's totally no bubbles inside. Second time the thing was overproof and then it looked like a bit of mushroom. So it was like, but to me it was like I felt it was funny. It's fail, but I felt it was funny, and actually shared it to some groups on Facebook. There was a very famous group called Masa Apa Tak Jadi Hari Ini. So I just posted it there lah. Let everybody have a laugh lah. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it got 1,000 over likes or something like that. So it's like, oh my gosh, I thought it was just going to be funny for a few people. Didn't know it was going to go viral.
Laughter is the best medicine also. You feel
Yeah,
laugh,
yeah,
laugh
yeah, right.
about it.
So, I mean, fail lah, right? So there's I think I've come to a point. I mean, this is fun failure lah, right? It's not life and death failure, but of course there have been times.
Sure.
I mean, when times come that it becomes serious failure, it's still going to be painful. It's still going to be embarrassing. It's still going to have consequences.
100%.
But I think if I feel if I'm okay enough to share with the world, how I suck at making bread, then to a certain extent my immunity has covered at least until that point lah, right?
Right. Yes. Yes.
So rather
It's all
than
about
even suck at making bread also, I don't dare to tell people. I guess our threshold is very
Right.
low already.
Right. It's all about that stretch, right? It's about stretching that
Mm.
comfort zone. We always talk about getting out of our comfort zone. Now we are always talking about stretching that comfort zone, which makes more sense to me, right? You need to
Yeah.
stretch. Always be in your comfort zone, right? People don't like to be outside of their comfort zone. Stretch that comfort zone. Make a bigger square feet of space where you are, like you say, like the immunity, right, grows.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
So guys, if you enjoy these conversations, make sure to like this video and share this video with your friends, right? Because I'm sure there are many other people who are going to appreciate the insights that Daryll is sharing today. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't yet, and put a like on my banner lah. I mean on my profile lah, so you can catch up whenever the show comes on. Okay, Michael has a very interesting take on this. In martial arts, falling forward gives you total control of how you fall, and you know what is coming at you and respond to it. Yeah, I think it's a great perspective, right? So if you can anticipate and plan for the fall, right, you can actually connect it to the next step that you're going to take.
Right.
Okay, so next.
Sorry, just a little bit on that, right? I think it's the same for business and many businesses that I started, right? I think your first and second don't know what's going to happen, don't know when the fall is coming. But I think the third and fourth, you roughly can know already, whether it's a partnership problem, whether it's a product problem, whether it's a pricing problem, whether it's a model problem or whatnot, right? And then you know how to fall for, you know how to anticipate for things. And I think it's the same for even relationship in life, right? My relationship with my ex-girlfriend, which is then now my wife, right? I mean, it was not
all right.
yeah, it's not smooth sailing, right? They're always like what they call a 3-year, 5-year, this transparent ceiling that you hit. You will have more in-depth discussions, blah blah blah, and that really happened. So I think going through that and then knowing where to navigate to what's going to happen, how to expect, truly helps, right? So wherever we fall, we so-called fail, like Chee-Seng, you said, right? Always fall in that relationship towards habit going forward. And I think then that also shortens a lot of our recovery time. Sometimes when you fall, you hurt yourself, you take longer time to recover. But you already have a habit that you're going to fail forward, your recovery time becomes shorter. Because all of us got the same amount of time. And if you can beat that instance, right, you're quite successful in that sense.
And I think, like what you say, is something that we need to keep stretching, right? Because the more we take the courage to stand back up again and move forward, it just stretches a bit more. And an example, I think, using back Mike's example of martial arts, I saw this fight. I don't know whether you're an MMA fan or not.
Casual.
I saw this. Yes, I saw this fight. What's her name? Angela Lee. Angela Lee, one of the one FC fighters. And she got kicked in the liver. And she was actually dominating the bout already. And then she got kicked in the liver, and liver shots are really like debilitating one. So she was kicked in the liver, and then she felt it, and then she had to retreat to recover. So the opponent saw her and then just went after her, So, and it could have been a defeat because she's already hurting. But what she did was, I felt so amazed. Okay, you're going after me, right? So I'm going to grab you. And Angela Lee is a grappler, lah, right? She's very strong
Yeah.
in grappling. And she actually choked out, after grapple, she actually choked out her opponent. It was a KO. And I was like, wow, this person really amazing. From a defeating shot, he
Yeah.
turned it around and became a KO. And that's why I
Right.
feel, thanks Michael for bringing up the martial arts.
Mm.
Like, it really just shows that, if we don't accept uh, failure at that point as it is, and we are
Mm.
really willing to take the extra mile, and have the courage to just take the extra mile,
Right.
we never know we can actually turn things around.
Right.
Hmm.
Agree.
Okay, so can you share a personal experience about you, how you learn to fail forward?
Ah, maybe perhaps I would a few situations. So to the first
Hmm.
one is when I was younger, yeah, I always okay. I'm not academic, right? Obviously, I stepped out of university as well. It's not the way I learn. It's not the way I learn in four walls of a classroom. So even I guess in early onset, I already had this so-called failing forward method, right? Because but obviously I didn't know at the time it was called failing forward. I went to a Chinese school, or I went to a Mandarin school. I'm really, really bad at it. I don't know up to now, like with God's grace, I think she's saying, right? I don't know how I passed all my Chinese. I got through everything. My math, history, all was in Chinese. Science and all that was in Chinese. So I think that gave me grit, right? To say even though I failed, my report card very colorful. Got red color, blue color, and it has helped me to take those right and say, hey, okay, right. I mean, I'm all right. Okay, let's go forward. Let's go forward. So those are my really younger days, and if anyone can relate. But I think when I grew older and I started my businesses, I started about 6 to 7 businesses, and not all of them stuck. And one of the experience is even most recently with Open Academy, right? So Open Academy, I'm wearing T-shirt today. Here, it's here.
Yeah, go and
I
subscribe Open Academy.
sorry.
No, I'm telling people, go and subscribe to Open Academy. Plenty
Thank
of
you
link,
very much.
plenty of things to learn there from all the series.
You can learn from Chee-Seng there as well. Um, the pandemic almost it was like a kick in the liver. It was really,
Mm.
it was a kick. It was a brutal kick because we already planned out all the whole of 2020 what we're gonna do. The courses we're gonna go, the places, the different countries we're gonna fish for market share. And I think when we had all those plans, everything was surrounded events. It was on events and physical, right? And so when the pandemic hit, right, obviously we were like caught off guard to a certain extent. We thought we would never be impacted to that level, and obviously all our events and workshops all stopped. So in summary, we gathered the team, and the so-called fail forward part. We almost failed. The forward part is that we gathered the team and say, okay, this plan B. Plan B was supposed to have the Open Academy app, and you're supposed to do online learning. So we brought the whole timeline forward. Our amazing tech team, 2-person, 2-man tech team, got a working website or web app within 2 weeks, and then within
Wow.
that 2 weeks, they uploaded all the photos, all the videos. We were just reminded about this also because we just celebrated our 10th anniversary. So someone
Mm.
shared about this here, right? So it's quite fresh. And in that 2 weeks or within that month leading up to that, all of us were at home. We were stuck at home, right? So we had to take out our own phone, our own whatever device that we have to start recording ourselves, right? So there were about 3 to 4 trainers, in-house trainers, including myself. We just using our own phones, recording 6 videos, send it to Dropbox, and then get to the editing team. The team edited it, uploaded it manually, everything. Hours of manual edit because the back end wasn't so good at the time. But that was a case in point that after that, now 2 years after, right? I mean, I gladly say we have about close to 17 or 18,000 users on Open Academy. We just got seed funding. We are hiring and growing. There is a corporate vision, shared vision of education, of that micro learning together, right? And that is the result of forward. As the result of the forward. And obviously on open minds I got 1,000 more stories to share. But these two things like this I want to bring tonight that is more fresh in my memory, that has truly left an impact on how we respond.
Mm.
Because if we already close shop and say, gone lah, pandemic's going to close shop for us already, there will be no more open academy today, right? There'll be no
Yeah.
platform for you to learn, to subscribe, to go through, to upskill, and be a waste.
Yeah, it all starts in the mind, right? It's not the circumstances around you, right? It's not the circumstances around you that make you fail, so to say, right? It
Mm.
can make you fall,
Mm.
but I think whether you stay down,
Mm.
that's the fail part, lah, right?
Mhm, mhm. Yeah,
So the refusal to stay down, the courage to get back up again, the determination to get back up again.
mm,
I think that's the key to turning things around, turning failure around.
yeah,
And I think, like you said, that's the forward part, lah, right? So if you fail and then you stay down, then okay, like that's it. That's the end of the story already,
right.
right? But if you just get back up, and what are we gonna do about this? What's next? What's next? What's next? Yeah. So those are the key. I think the key mindsets that we need to have to move forward.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, golden question. And I think in our world today are very challenging, right? Everybody's talking about agile, empowering, but I feel it's not really there yet, lah, right? In many companies, they want people to be agile, but to be agile means people have to be free to try things, right? And to be free to try things, you don't expect 100% success 100% of the time, right? It's no such thing as one shot wonder. So
Mm.
how can people or leaders or companies learn the value of failing forward?
I think this is a very loaded question because I don't want to overgeneralize things. I know some of my friends, or friends of friends who have had to close down or close shop, right?
Mm,
Wind up their company because of the pandemic. Were they not
mm,
failing forward? Can't say that
mm.
also, right? So
Yeah.
I think very carefully. But I think I will focus on the leadership part more than anything else. Because if you look at case studies, and the leadership team in my company, we're going through case studies and case studies. And one of the case studies that we started off with was with Nokia and Apple. And if you look at how the main thing that stick out, besides all the product changes, the team competence, the what do you call it, the difference in operations, the difference in culture, one thing sticks out: leadership. There were
Mm,
very different types of leaders leading the company. Now, would you say Nokia is a total failure? Maybe one point of time, but I would say Nokia now it's rising. You see, Nokia is still alive, by the way. Even their phone business is still alive. They may not have market share, they may not be the sexy phone and all that, but
mm,
they carved out a position for themselves, and then they're doing bigger things right now, right? Not just the phone business. So it all boils down, I would say, to leaders and how leaders value the
mm,
idea of pivoting so that you can go forward. Because,
mm,
like you talk about agile and flexibility, right? A lot of leaders, unfortunately, do not find the need to change, right?
mm,
Either themselves or even the way they do things. So, if with that and you have the mindset already, then we are stuck. We are stuck.
mm,
Yes, it can be tiring. I'm very tired also, right? Being a leader is tiring. No one says it's easy, right? But being that leader that knows how much fruit you will bear if you were to fail forward gives you the strength for today to make that decision. So I feel many times in seasons and moments in my leadership, together with my partners, of course, we had to
mm,
make these decisions because I think that value is innate in us. It's in us because we've been through it, right? How do you
mm,
learn the value? Is to go through it, to truly, truly go through it, right? And never, never, this I want to put it out there. So a lot of startups and entrepreneurs today rely on a huge amount of capital injection even before stabilizing a company, right? And
mm,
therefore, the leaders also might not know how to navigate when things go south.
Mm.
right? If you really truly want to
Yeah.
learn the value of it, is from that perspective, right? Don't rest on your laurels, don't rest on that capital. Go out, experience it, but most
Yeah.
importantly, I think you need to understand that failure will truly come, and it's all about leadership value. That
Mm.
the leaders that hold this up together, that shared vision that communicates throughout the whole organization.
Mm. And I think I agree with you, lah. Right, leadership is so important. Whether people in the company or people working under them, if their managers are not company owners, whether they feel confident enough to voice out ideas or try new things. Um, of course, as I mentioned, if you want to try new things, there's no guarantee of success. There might be some failures, but I think there has to be some balance somewhere, right? There has to be some leadership to guide, to actually say, okay, I think this is worth doing. Let's try this, and then they manage the risk, right? Rather than give me an idea, this doesn't work, go out, or this sounds
Mm,
good but too risky, don't do. So it's
mm,
like I feel there has to be a very strong relationship, community kind of thing going on within the team, rather
mm,
than a very transactional. Give me an idea and I'll say yes or no, that kind of thing.
mhm.
Mm. So I don't see any other way that it's going to work. Um, yeah, like I mentioned, a lot of. I mean, I'm not saying small companies. Small companies. I mean, you don't have specialized departments and you don't have the kind of budget lah. So everything falls on the owner. So, and especially I think what you said, if startups they get funding, uh, you know, with VCs pressuring you, I think it's not easy lah, right?
No.
Sometimes you feel you want to try something and then the VCs come and say, I think this too risky lah. I don't want to risk my money.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yes.
Hmm. I thought like I know startups. I don't.
You know a good amount of it for sure. 100%. No, it is the truth. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, no lah. I'm just empathetic. Like, I can imagine if somebody gave you $1 million and I'm expecting like 20% returns in like 5 years.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Right. So how are you going to cough up 5% if you're going to try a risky new idea that has like 50-50 chance of failure? Correct or not?
Yeah.
So everybody just ends up taking the safest route, but
Mm.
sometimes that I think without risk, there's no
That,
innovation lah.
yeah, that's the whole new topic again, right? Risk versus
Yeah,
reality
exactly.
versus
So
innovation. Yeah.
so I think we all have to learn what is the balance point, right? Where failure is not final. It's actually an opportunity to learn and move on and become better,
Mm.
right? On a corporate business level, I feel.
Mm.
Okay, we are already at the end of the show. My goodness, we are in fact a few minutes over time. Okay, Daryl, what are your 3 key takeaways for us tonight?
Wow. Three key takeaways. Number one, know the context and perspective, your perspective of success, because success follows from failure, right? Always know where your end point is. It may change, the end goal may change, but just be clear about that. Number two, takeaway. I think when we are talking also, I think one theme that stuck around is truly about. I use this sometimes during my talk. Is a wake up and is wake up, show up, kick ass, repeat. Right? So you need to wake up always. You need to be present. You need to do your task. You need to do the task. You need to put in the work and repeat. Right? I think that's the key takeaway about how you have that relationship with failure all the way to victory or success. And I think the third one is a bit broad. It's a bit broad, but I'm reminded as I was preparing some stuff this afternoon as well about mental health. Right? I think failure nowadays affect a lot of people from the mental health point of view, and we don't talk about it. And because mental health affects a lot of how we respond physically to getting up, All right. I think leaders, companies, organization at least need to acknowledge that mental health is also as important as physical health. And if we can match these two together and integrate it and find a solution, a well-being solution for it, then I feel that people are more effective in failing forward in that sense. Right? So I think it's a bit broad, this third one, but I think the key takeaway on mental health, besides the other two more practical one, right, is also something that we need to realize and we need to acknowledge, and hopefully leaders can also champion this moving forward.
Yeah, I think mental health is another huge topic by itself, lah. Right? But I think, yeah, I agree with you. It's very important. Okay, thank you very much. We are at the end of the show. If you had gained a lot of valuable insights from this show, please do like and share this video. Let your friends in on the great conversations as well. Do consider to subscribe my YouTube channel as well to stay updated. Just now, before we end, I want to give you a little preview of what to expect on the next Leaders Dojo. I'm very, very honored to be able to invite Charlene Lucas to the show. Charlene is a clinical psychologist from the Philippines, and I've been following her for the past 2 years, and I feel she has this ability to be vulnerable but not pathetic, if I can say it that way, right? On LinkedIn, how she shares her stories and how the past abuse that she has suffered, but how also she has taken that experience, well, failing forward, right? She has taken that experience of abuse, and now she is a clinical psychology specializing in trauma and abuse, right? So that's why from victim to victor to healer. So please do join me on the next Leaders Dojo. It's going to be a Monday, no longer a Tuesday, because she can't make it on Tuesdays. Monday, 26th of September. So mark your calendars and watch out for the show with Charlene. She was supposed to come on last month, but a few things happened and we couldn't make it. So this is going to be a really, really very insightful and inspirational session, right? So until then, let me say to each and every one of you, good night and have a great day tomorrow. And thank you very much, Daryll. Please help me to thank Daryll as well for his wonderful
No problem.
sharing.
Pleasure. Always.
Very,
Thanks,
very
Chee-Seng.
insightful. Thank you, Daryll. Okay, with that, thank you and